All right, guys, welcome back. This is Module 6, Lesson 5. Today we are going to continue to work on the hundredths position. So let's take a look right up here for an example. We have 3/10, and they want us to shade this in. All right, not a problem. We have 10 drawn for us, and we know that we're going to shade 3. Not a problem. We can handle that. But now we need to change it so that we can get to the hundredths place. And this is where we look at that magical number that we know that when we're moving within our place value, we're grouping by groups of 10. So we want to show that we moved by a group of 10. So just as if we would move forward, when we're moving backwards, we're still grouping and moving by groups of 10. So 10 times 10 will give us 100. That will allow us to move to the hundredth spot. 3 times 10 would equal 30. So 3/10 is equal to 30 hundredths. And we are going to show that. They drew us a grid over here. And here's our 3/10. Well, 1, 2, 3. And these are already broken down. So here's 10, 20, and 30. So as you can visually see, 3/10 is equal to 30 hundredths, and we did that by using that magic number of 10 when we are moving back and forth within the place value chart. Now let's go down to 2A. Let's look at this. They give it to us as 37 hundredths, and they want us to break it down into tenths plus hundredths. Well, guys, all you really have to do is look at our number. Remember, this would be about where our decimal point is, right in front of it. So what number is in our tenths position? That is the number 3. 3 goes into the tenths position. The number in the hundredths position is our 7. So we have 3/10 plus 7 hundredths. Now, guys, remember when you're looking at the place value chart, tenths comes first, then my hundredths, okay? So when we were moving in before our decimal point, we would move this way. So ones would be first over here and tens would be second. When you're talking about decimals, you're actually moving backwards, and that can be confusing. So remember your decimal point, if you need to put it in there, go ahead. Your decimal point would go here, and then you're moving backwards. So this is actually your tenths, and that would be your hundredths. So we have 3/10, 7 hundredths. If they want you to write it as a fraction, tenths, hundredths, it also tells you that. So it tells you that your decimal or your denominator should be 100, and your top number should be a 37. If we were doing it as a decimal point, like I said, we could have put it over here just to show us. 0.37. So our decimal point needs to come first. Let's move down just a little tiny bit over here where they're looking at 3/100, and they want you to write that as a decimal and in, like we would have done up here, okay? 3/100, which makes me know that I need 2 decimal points here, okay, guys? So remember 0.03, okay? Because we need to get ourselves to the hundredths place. So if you did 0.3, you're actually just showing them 3/10. So don't forget to keep that 0 in there as just your place value holder. Now, they want you to write it as hundredths. Well, how many hundredths do you have? 3 hundredths, okay? Now, if we're looking at 4B, I have 15/100. So if I'm writing it as a decimal, I have 2 numbers. I know that, so it's 0.15. Now, if I need to break this down into my tenths and my hundredths, remember the first number is actually your tenths. So I have 1/10 and 5 hundredths, okay? Now, we're looking down here at 4F, and it's giving you 80 hundredths. They want you to write it as a fraction and as a decimal. Well, hundredths is telling me what I need to do. My denominator is 100, And my 80 goes up on top as my numerator. And then as I'm going to write it as a decimal, I have my 0 point, and I'm able to just write 80. Okay. Continue on with the rest of your problem set.